All right, so let's get started. So we've already kind of talked about the fact that we're here to talk about tea and honey and its relationship, but I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit more to everybody who's on the call, just a little bit about me. I have been in the tea business since 2007. I used to own a brick and mortar space, a tea house called Lola's up here in New York for maybe about 5 or 6 years. And then converted that tea house into a mobile tea party catering business, where instead of you coming to my space, I would now pack up everything and come to your house or your backyard or your dining room or a party venue of your choice and help you host a tea themed event. And we still do tea parties, in other people's homes or fundraisers, or a lot of the sororities I help the sororities with fundraisers and stuff with tea, but any kind of tea themed event is usually what we're kind of asked to help cater. And we cater the whole thing, the 3-tier trays, the finger sandwiches, the scones, the clotted cream, like we give that whole English style themed tea party when we help host. I also sell loose leaf teas on my website. There's 35 or 40 different loose leaf teas, all the accessories, the little cute little honey dippers. And well, no, I actually haven't loaded those on to the website yet, but all the accessories you need are on the website to make a good cup of tea. And then out of COVID, believe it or not, I started creating and curating tea gift boxes, which then led me into a subscription box program called what we call Simplicity. So we have like a monthly, you can either do a one-time gift box for someone or for yourself, or you could purchase a subscription, 3 months, 6 months, 12-month subscription of the Simplicity boxes. And I curate a different box every month. Hopefully there's a holiday in that month where it'll give me some inspiration to create the box. And then you receive them very similar to the way, in the box that you receive for tea and honey today. So we have curated boxes, loose leaf teas, accessories, virtual events like this one, and tea party catering. So that's a little bit about me. Longer story about how I truly got into the industry, but suffice it to say that I got into the tea industry because of my father. He was actually the tea drinker of the family. Mabel, I see Mabel. Here she comes.
I don't know why I can't. Oh my God, I am just having such a problem here. I'll figure it out, no worries.
All right, I'm glad you're here though. Welcome.
Oh, I even put lipstick on for the occasion.
Well, thank you.
You're better than me.
We'll get the video going so we can see the lipstick.
That's right.
All right, so as you would imagine, there are so many different types and varieties of tea. There she is.
All right.
We went to high school together.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen her pretty face since 1980 something. No, 1970 something.
Wow.
She looks the same. I'd recognize her anywhere.
That's cute.
So as I was saying, that there's so many, even when you go to the supermarket, you see all the different varieties and flavors and names, so many different varieties of loose leaf tea bags and loose leaf teas. And the same thing with my website. I have 35, 40 different teas on the website, so many different varieties. But once you get down to your favorites, maybe your first or second, third favorites, it's then time to start thinking about what you may need to use to sweeten your favorite teas. Most people will probably go for sugar. Some people will go for, the what do you call it? The monk fruits and the sugar substitutes, you know, whatever your choice and taste will allow, most people will choose honey to sweeten their teas. Now I won't mention who, but there is somebody on this call who does not like honey at all and will not put any honey in her tea at all. But I won't say who that person is. So, but she sweetens her tea with her sweeteners, you know, something outside of honey, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. But a lot of times people kind of seem to associate hot tea with, you know, some honey in it. And so just as you have all those different varieties of teas to pick from, there are a couple of things that you need to know that I'll share with you today about at least my perspective as to where honey kind of fits into the whole marriage of tea and its relationship with tea. So we're just in today's session, we're gonna, kind of explore 3 various types, and, obviously you see them in your box. But before we get into that, let me just give a level set with everybody, make sure everybody understands the difference between raw versus processed, or pasteurized versus unpasteurized honey. So there's a little quote in there that I found on the Googler that tells you a little bit about honey. What I didn't know is that honey dates back to the Egyptian times. And in fact, if anybody knows anything about King Tut's tomb, when they exhumed it and opened it up, there was honey in his tomb some 2,200 years ago that was still good. And so honey dates back to the times of the Egyptians, and it actually is like how do I say, we call it shelf life. It has the longest shelf life that you could possibly imagine, which means it stays good, like almost practically forever. Stays good for at least 2,000 years. That we know.
Wow.
So the caveat to that is that type of honey that lasts that long and has that long shelf life is honey that is considered raw. Okay, or unpasteurized honey. That's the honey that lasts the longest and has the longest shelf life. Most of the honeys in the supermarkets that you'll find on the shelves have gone through a process called pasteurization. And so with pasteurization, there is this heating of the honey. It's almost like a boiling and a sterilization of the honey when they pasteurize it before they put it in the jars and send it to the supermarkets. But the downside of pasteurizing or processing raw honey is that it kills off all of the nutrients and benefits that you would get from using unpasteurized honey. So there's good things, bad things about pasteurization versus unpasteurized honey. We prefer raw or unpasteurized honey, and we'll get into that in a minute. The supermarkets and the bigger label stores will prefer pasteurized honey or processed honey because it has a longer shelf life. They can bottle it and stick it up there on the shelves forever and ever, but it doesn't have the same types of nutrients and benefits that unpasteurized honey has. So there's a slew of healthy benefits to raw, unpasteurized honey. Here's some of the nutritional vitamins and minerals that are contained in raw honey. But it's similar to tea. Raw honey is a good source of antioxidants. So it helps you, and again, you have to use a fair amount of it on a regular basis. But as an antioxidant, honey, as well as tea, helps with the aging process, helps your skin cells and your cells in general regenerate a little quicker, a little easier. And it could potentially have some benefits for the development or maintenance of heart disease, and certain cancers. I won't, we don't want to get into like the medical stuff, but certain cancers and heart disease in particular, we found that there is some benefit of using honey as opposed to any of the other sweeteners that are out there. Honey is also not only an antioxidant, but it has antibacterial, antifungal properties, helps with healing wounds or minor burns or infections. If you kind of put unpasteurized or raw honey kind of directly on a small wound, not anything, or a burn, not anything that's too serious. But if, you find yourself kind of got a little burn or something from cooking or whatever, and you're looking for something quick to put on it, honey is probably one of the first choices or best choices until you're able to kind of get it cleaned up and taken care of and bandaged and everything. There's something called phytonutrients. These are plant-based antioxidants that help with the antibacterial and antifungal properties that honey has, but also tea has that as well. As you would imagine, honey helps you with your digestive issues. If you have, little stomach disagreements, it's considered a prebiotic. I know there's a lot of commercials out there that talk about probiotics. Honey's a prebiotic, so it helps with the probiotic, but you got to take the honey first as a pre before the probiotics actually work. So it helps with building good bacteria in order for the probiotic to work better. As you would imagine, honey also helps with sore throats and, if you had a dry cough, honey, a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of honey, maybe with a little squeeze of lemon on it, and you take it down, it usually kind of helps coat your throat, the back of your throat. It kind of helps you with the sore throat and helps with that. With all these benefits, I also have to, in fair balance, remind everybody that because this honey that we're talking about is unpasteurized or raw honey, we have to be careful with giving this honey to younger children or babies, because their little stomachs are not able to fight off a bacteria called, well, everybody knows what botulism is. Clostridium botulism. And so because the honey is raw and unpasteurized, it's not boiled or sterilized in order for it to get rid of the Clostridium botulism if it's in there. And so word to the wise, just to be on the safe side, everybody recommends not to give children that are maybe a year old and younger. It's probably best not to give them raw honey at all. Okay, they can't fight off the botulism yet. Like our stomachs, we've thrown all kinds of foods and things down in our digestive systems that we're able to manage to kill off the botulism if it's in there. But the babies don't. They don't. Their stomachs are still pretty stiff. So choosing a raw honey, nowadays it's pretty simple. If you have a farmer's market or a health food store nearby or Mrs. Green's or any of those types of health food markets, but the farmers markets are really where, especially now that it's getting warmer, the farmers markets, most farmers markets, and the ones that I've been to, somebody's always selling raw or unpasteurized honey. So if you're ever interested in purchasing it, or you can actually go to Zach and Zoe website. Shameless plug for them. They owe me a commission. But if you're, interested in purchasing locally, there seems to be an upsurge or an uptick in beekeepers. Everybody's now into, even in the city in Harlem, there's a guy that has on the top of his apartment roof, a beehive. And so everybody's really getting into hiving bees and securing and curating the honey and the honeycombs from them. And so any farmer's market that you go to will have raw or unpasteurized honey. So if you choose to buy the honey in a store or in a supermarket, be careful with the words like natural, organic, and pure. They do not mean raw. I don't know what it means really. Natural, well, organic, no pesticides. Pure, I'm not sure what that means. Natural, not sure what that means either when it comes to honey that you buy in the supermarket on the jar. It has to say either raw, pasteurized, or unpasteurized, like something, one of those three words. But this natural, organic, and pure does not mean or define itself as it being unpasteurized or raw. So be careful when you're reading the labels and stuff in the supermarkets, just look for the words either raw or unpasteurized if you're really looking for that type of honey. What else do I want to tell you? Sometimes I get some questions about how do you store it? Where do you put it? How do I keep it the best? And I say very similar to the way that you would store and keep your loose leaf teas. You store raw or unpasteurized honey airtight in a sealed container that has very little light or heat exposure or extreme temperatures. Can't have it like one day it's 30 degrees and the next day it's 90-degree kind of weather. So similar to your teas, keep your teas and your honey in tightly sealed containers, away from a lot of light exposure and away from extreme temperatures. Now, if you had your honey for 6 months, a year or so, or maybe more, you'll notice that sometimes it crystallizes. You'll see like cloudy, crystally around the inside of the jar. It's fine. It's still good. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just it probably had a temperature. Something happened in your cabinet too close to the stove. I don't know. Something must have happened that caused it to crystallize. But it's still good. You can still use it if you want, which is what I do. I'll take out a little bit of the honey, not the whole jar, but whatever I'm going to use. Maybe if I'm going to put it in a teacup or something, I'll put the honey in first, even though it's crystallized, like scrape it around and put it in the cup, and then just microwave it for a couple seconds just to warm up the honey, and the crystallizations will disappear. So don't throw away your crystallized honey. It's still good, because remember, King Tut still had his in 2,200 years ago. So a year or two in your cabinet is still good. Just, if you don't like the way it looks, or if it looks funny to you, if it doesn't look appealing to you, then you can just put a little bit of it in your cup in a couple seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds in the microwave, and it'll become just what it looks like in the jar when you first bought it. Now, if the color has changed, or if you open it and it smells a little funny, like rancid, definitely throw that out. That's not, healthy, good honey anymore. It's probably full of God knows what. But, if it really smells distinct, like, because honey doesn't really have a smell, but if it really smells strong, or if it just doesn't smell right to you, and you notice that the color has changed pretty dramatically, don't even bother with it. Just get you a fresh batch. Okay. All right, so before I get into the Zach and Zoe family, does everybody have their hot water ready? You don't necessarily have the made your tea yet, but do you have some hot water handy? And if not, this would be a good time. Go, Mabel. Go, Mabel. This may be a good time to make sure you have some hot water on hand, because after a couple of slides, we'll get into the tasting. But while Mabel ran, did anybody else run to get water? Looking to see if anybody ran away. While Mabel's getting her hot water ready, I just wanted to share a little bit about the owners of the company whose honey was in your box. They are the Johnson family, and they are owners of Zach and Zoe. Zach and Zoe are their names of their children. Zach, the youngest one, is the child that prompted the family to get into honey. Zach apparently had really, really bad allergies, I think he also had like skin allergies and seasonal allergies. And the family wanted to try and approach his allergies in a more holistic, less Western medicine way. And so they started doing some research on honeys. They realized, which is true, that raw or unpasteurized honey has benefits to alleviating allergic reactions and allergies and that state of being allergic. There's some important ingredients within the honey itself that helps stave off allergies, like really bad allergies and allergic reactions. And so I guess once the mom did some research and found out that honey would actually help her son, they took it a whole nother level and moved from the southern part of New Jersey to an even further southern part of New Jersey. I think they're almost at the Philadelphia border, like they're down, almost South Jersey, and started hiving bees and making their own honey to help with their son's allergies. And so once they started doing that, I think I have a graphic of, I think they started in 2015 is when they first got their hives and started curating some honey. And then in 2016, well, actually that same year, the mom and dad realized that the honey was actually helping the son. And then they kind of grew exponentially from 2016 on down to 2020. I think they started selling their honey in farmers markets. And then in 2018, I think they wound up in Chelsea Market in the city in Manhattan, in New York, where they have like that's where I met them, a kiosk. They have a kiosk in Chelsea Market. Chelsea Market is this huge international meat, cheese, food, like eaters delight place that you literally like walk in and everything in there is about food, whether you sit down and eat it or you can purchase it. But they have a kiosk there where they sell their honeys in Chelsea Market. But then in 2020, I think we already kind of joked about it, but it's true. In 2020, they were touched by the golden finger of a Miss Oprah Winfrey, and they're in business and who they are. They kind of became celebrities. But more importantly, their honey became extremely popular. And so from 2020 on now, Zach and Zoe is kind of the honey of choice for most people out there. It's probably branded as like the most well-known, and everybody wants to meet Zach and Zoe. Well, they all want to meet Zach because he's kind of the impetus behind this whole business that they've created around trying to help their child. So bravo to the Johnsons. What I gather, Zach is doing well. He's like approaching teenage years and he still has allergies and stuff, but I'm sure he's still probably taking and eating a lot of his family business honey. So that's about the Johnsons. All right, so we're about to begin. Let me just make sure everybody has everything. So you should have three of these little plastic cups, teacups. This is about 6 ounces, right? 3 of those. You got your 3 Zach and Zoe little minis, right? You have a little plastic bag with your disposable tea bags in them, right? Oops. And lastly, you should have 3 samples. It's about 1.5 ounces samples, 3 of those. One says English breakfast, one says hibiscus colada, and the other one says Chinese green.
I got 4 cups.
Huh?
I got 4 cups.
Oh, you lucked out. Somebody must have counted 4 instead of 3. Lucky you.
Don't forget the cute little honey dipper.
Oh, yeah, and the cute little honey dipper. If anybody's so inclined. Sorry. Yeah, thanks, Mickey. Mickey had to go get hers, so make sure we know about the honey dipper. You can use it if you want to. If not, a teaspoon is fine. If you don't want to get your honey dipper sticky, but you can use a teaspoon, doesn't matter. But I will say this, because these little cups are only 6 ounces, be careful with how much honey you put in them, because you don't want to overwhelm the tea because it's only 6 ounces. Okay. All right, we're gonna begin with, let's see, I think we should begin with the green tea, because the other 2 teas take a little longer to steep. So take a teaspoon, just a teaspoon of the Chinese green, right? A teaspoon. Put that teaspoon of tea into one of those disposable tea bags. Pour your water into the cup, put the tea bag in, pour your water in, and I'll set the timer for about 2 minutes, because green tea only takes about 2 minutes to brew. If you've done that already, no worries if you're still preparing the green tea, but if you're done with doing your green tea, go ahead and at least put the the other 2 teas in the other 2 tea bags. So take your English breakfast, 1 teaspoon, put it in the tea bag, and then take your hibiscus colada, 1 teaspoon, into the tea bag. This way we'll get ready. So far, so good, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Questions yet? Everybody good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, Miss Daniels. When did you sneak in there?
A few minutes ago.
No. Should I do that in this?
How we doing? Kat thinks I'm talking to her.
Where do you go? I pull back too. Yeah, extra everything.
So far, so good, everybody?
Yep.
Okay. We got a couple more seconds for your green tea to brew. So while the green tea has a couple more seconds, go ahead and put the English breakfast tea, put some hot water in that cup, and then go and put some hot water in your hibiscus colada, because those 2 teas take about 5 minutes to brew.
I need milk too.
I know that's why I line them up.
Okay, so which one is this?
I think that one.
Okay, 'cause I
Take the tea bag out of the green tea, because the longer you keep the tea bag into, and this is any tea, whether it's loose leaf or if you buy tea in the supermarkets, whatever, however you get your tea. When you drink your tea, please don't leave the tea bag in the cup while you're drinking it. It makes your tea bitter, and then you won't get the good taste out of it that you're expecting to get. So once the brew time is up, which is now, take that green tea bag out of that cup. Now I
Is that
usually
color?
the color is a pale but clear, kind of golden yellow, greenish, light greenish color to it. Okay. Now, I usually ask everybody to taste their teas naked before we start. I mean naked, no sugar, no milk, no nothing. Smell it, taste it, just take a sip of it in its natural state, just so you have an appreciation of it. Green tea is what we call vegetal. So it's grassy smelling, grassy tasting. This particular green tea comes from China. Sencha, 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 but very vegetal. And I purposely picked a grassy tasting green tea because the raspberry honey is complementary to a grassy tasting tea. So taste the green tea first without any honey or anything in it, just a little sip, smell it, see what you think. Your palate will either like it or not. No right or wrong answer. It's just totally up to you.
2 minutes.
And then, now remember, because it's only, oh wait, before we get there, did everybody put and start brewing their English breakfast and their hibiscus colada yet?
Yes.
Looks like it. Hilton's, you doing okay there?
We're a little behind, but we're catching up.
That's okay, that's okay.
Yeah, but I want to know.
Yeah, but I don't have a timer for that one.
Okay.
I got a timer.
Okay, so we read. Okay, so we'll do that.
So we'll do
All
that.
right, so the English breakfast and the hibiscus colada is gonna brew for about 5 minutes. So hopefully by the time I finish babbling about green, the English breakfast and the hibiscus should be ready for tasting. So green tea is one of the 4 tea types. For those of you who have been with me before, we've already, I should test you to see if you still remember the 4 tea types, but it's green, white, black, and oolong. Those are the 4 tea types. Tea is made from 1 plant, 1 tea leaf, and depending on how that tea is oxidized and processed, will render the different tea type that you're drinking. So you're drinking green tea, which is oxidized very little. Black tea is oxidized the most, but green tea is oxidized in the middle, not quite overly oxidized and not the least oxidized, but green tea is probably very popular. Everybody's heard of it. Whether you drink it hot or cold, it's pretty popular. So raspberries, on the other hand, are pretty beneficial with some helpful sources of vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, with a little bit of fiber in it. If you don't eat raspberries naturally, and hopefully you don't have an allergy to raspberries, raspberries are pretty good, similar to blackberries and blueberries, good with fiber, good with rich in vitamins. And they're proven to help stave off diabetes, obesity. It's all part of the whole healthful diet of eating fruits and vegetables. So go ahead and put remember it's only 6-ounce cup. Maybe try a half a teaspoon in the 6 ounces. Try that first. Stir that around, see if you like it. If you want more honey added to it, go ahead, but start with a little bit because it's a small cup.
Which honey we using with that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. We are using the raspberry flavored honey.
Okay. Do we try before we put it in there? Oh, let's do that. Let's take it first. I always drink mine with nothing in it. I like the taste of the tea.
Okay, good.
Took me a while to get there though.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. We're so used to everything either full of sugar, full of salt, full of preservatives. That's why I want you to taste it.
That's good by itself. Don't need nothing, really.
So you like your green tea naked. Very good.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, so you didn't try it with the honey yet?
I'm gonna try it. Yeah. We gotta get a half a teaspoon.
All right, if you like it without it, then you don't need that much honey in yours.
I'm gonna try it, see what it tastes like.
Yeah. It's a complimentary taste. The raspberries and the honey kind of complements the grassy taste of the tea. So it should help the tea taste better.
I'm a coffee fanatic too.
Yeah. He's coffee, I'm tea.
That's all right. We gonna wean them down some. I mean, I drink coffee too, I have to admit, but you know, I love the smell and taste of it.
I got a Bravo Barista espresso machine, and I try all different types of coffee.
Oh, well, you're a serious coffee drinker. All right, you're a serious coffee drinker.
I love tea too.
But we have some strong teas that could help you transition a little. In fact, I have a chai tea that's full of spices and very strong, and I actually put a little coffee in it to kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to try that.
When I'm like trying to wean myself, like if I've already had a cup of coffee already and I want to start and switch to tea for the day, part of my transition is to put a little coffee in my chai tea, and then you know, if I have a second or third cup of tea, then I just drink the chai without the coffee. But sometimes you still need that smell and taste of coffee in your beverage. So what does everybody think of the raspberry honey flavored green tea?
I like it.
Do you?
It's good.
It's good.
Yes, it's good.
I like it also.
Good. I wasn't sure, but when you order the what they call the fruit flight on the website, you don't get a choice to pick which ones you want. You only get those 3. So I had to do some research to figure out what would work well with raspberry honey, and you know, all of my tasting and researching and trial and error came to the fact that it's probably a green tea with raspberry honey was probably the best tasting choice. So I'm glad you liked it. I'm sure the Johnsons will be happy.
Yeah, I could have drank it without it, but it's still better with it. I just put a little bit in there.
All right, good. All right, so everybody's hibiscus and English breakfast should be brewed. Take those tea bags, please, out of the cups. Set them aside. Let's go with hibiscus. So hibiscus colada is my #1 best-selling herbal tea.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually coming into itself now because a lot of people drink this as an iced tea in the summer months.
I didn't mix them up.
People make hibiscus colada punch, you know, for parties, or it brews kind of pinky purpley, so it almost looks like a sangria. So people slice up oranges and lemons and apples in their hibiscus colada iced tea punch. So just a little tip for the recipe. This one is an herbal tea. So there is no tea leaves in hibiscus colada. What is in hibiscus colada is apples, dried coconut, dried pineapple pieces, and clearly hibiscus and rose hips. Hibiscus flowers by themselves seem to have a benefit for helping with high blood pressure. But you got to drink a lot of it, and you have to drink it regularly in order to get the benefits of drinking hibiscus tea if you're trying to help your blood pressure. Plus, still take your medicine and everything else that you got to do. But hibiscus leaves or hibiscus flowers have been known to help with high blood pressure. Helps keep it under control. All right.
How many cups do you have to drink?
6, 8, 10 cups a day, every day, all day. It has to be the beverage of your choice, your life.
I can't.
But I will say though, I just came back from the World Tea Convention in Vegas the other day, and they now have statistics that says that tea in general is the #1 beverage over coffee, second to water. So
wow,
can't beat it.
We saw that in Vegas. We saw that. We kind of a little thought about it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's your herbal tea. Taste it, smell it before you put the honey in it. I want your palate to get a little used to it. Fruity, sweet, pinky kind of color, right?
Yeah. I don't need no honey. That's already sweet. That's already sweet.
It is. You're right.
Man.
That's why it makes a good punch.
Wow. I'm gonna have to order some of this. You gotta get some more of this.
So because it's so sweet, I thought it would be a good idea to use the lemon flavored honey to not cut the sweetness of the tea, but the honey seems to brighten it up, bring out the freshness of the hibiscus tea. So go ahead and put just a little bit. Remember, it's only a 6-ounce cup. Just a little bit of the honey, lemon honey tea. I'm sorry, lemon honey. And see what you think. So this tea is going to be the sweetest of the three.
It didn't need anything in it.
Yeah, I don't put anything in my
Good.
hibiscus either. But I thought if I was
Yeah,
going to, I might as well cut it with a little bit of lemon. Look at Mabel.
I know.
I think Mabel likes it.
It is good.
It's good. In fact, you know, when we had the tea house, one of the staff had started squeezing lemon into the hibiscus tea when customers would order it, and then they would come back and like buy it and try and make it at home, and then come back and complain that it didn't taste the same when they made it at home than when they got it here, you know, from us. And so I had to tell them, you got to squeeze a little lemon in it, because that's what we did to it. So
That was
lemon seems
Delicious.
to bring. Say again.
Delicious.
I agree.
I see why it's your favorite.
Yes, it is the number one, particularly in summertime, the number one iced tea that we used to sell. And it's actually the number one loose tea that folks start buying in the warmer months.
I like that.
I'm glad you like it.
All right. You got a customer.
Say no more. Say no more, cousin. I think we're cousins.
I know, that's right. It wasn't hard to win me over anyway.
Debbie, we found out that the Hiltons live in Martinsville, Virginia, where Mommy Oaks's family is. They even know them.
Oh wow! So
Scary.
y'all are near real towns. My people aren't near real towns.
No, we in Martinsville, lady.
Yeah, we're closer to the hills.
No, we're in the mountains.
Yeah, we're towards West Virginia.
Oh, yeah, you in the mountains.
Where you pray for you pray for a full moon at night.
I have to go to West Virginia so often. I got caught on Flat Top Mountain over there. And it was
It's
snowing.
beautiful, but y'all can keep that.
Yeah. No, New York's bad too. Buffalo, man.
Say no more. All right, we ready to go on to the last and final one?
Yes.
All right, so the last one is a very standard tea. It's called English breakfast. It's probably the most familiar taste of tea to you, because this is the brand or the tea type that everybody buys off the shelves. I won't name names, but the major brands have boxes of this kind of stuff all over the place in the supermarket. But this is the most familiar tea type. It's considered a black tea, so it's oxidized the most, and it's going to render a darker brown, nice kind of brown tea, right? takes the longest for it to brew because the oxidation takes time for the leaves to bloom and absorb the water. And that's why we have to brew this for 5 minutes. Okay, so.
Yeah, it's taking a traditional tea that you get in the restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good though.
It's more the traditional. So this one has more of a stronger taste to it. It's what we call a robust brew. Good for obviously English breakfast, good for breakfast time tea. And so I thought maybe we try the straight black tea with some blueberry honey. So before you put the blueberry honey in, give it a smell, take a little sip before you put the honey in it, and then go ahead and put your honey and then taste. I'm sure everybody knows the benefits of blueberries. They're good with the whole antioxidants and what they call flavonoids. There's a whole big scientific thing behind blueberries, but just know that having and eating blueberries in its raw state, in the fruit, is good for you for heart disease, blood pressure. They claim it helps with your brain function, but I'm still forgetful and confused, so I don't know. Maybe it's just age, I don't know. But I thought to pair the black tea, a stronger tasting tea, more robust tasting tea, with a nice hint of blueberry.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yes, it is. This is a traditional tea,
like
but
it,
this is
yeah.
really good.
More traditional tea, yep.
Yeah.
So of the three, which one did we like the most?
I think the hibiscus.
Yeah, I like hibiscus of all of them.
Hibiscus.
They're always good, but the hibiscus is my favorite. That's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. That's yours, right?
It is. It is.
That's your top
It is.
one. I like all of them, but I like that one. I like it with the lemon and stuff.
Okay.
Green.
The second be the green.
English
Mhm.
English breakfast, you know, it's better than the traditional, but it's traditional.
It is. It's the standard tea. It's probably the most familiar with your palate. So the other two are different, and so you kind of like a little different zing to the back of your palate. Everybody kind of knows what black tea tastes like. So you got excited when it tasted hibiscus and green tea.
I didn't know what to expect today, but I enjoyed this. This was fun. My wife always drags me with something all the time.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, but she first ordered one box for herself, and then came back and ordered a second box for you know who. So you wasn't included initially. And then she changed her mind and wanted to invite you. So consider yourself special, sir.
You said, I don't want to be, I want my own box. That's what you
Well, I'm glad he got his own.
I would do it right.
Yes, sir.
I'm
So who
glad
has
I played hooky today.
questions, anybody? Comments, anything?
No, everything was delicious.
It was.
I'm gonna
May
make
it
like
was
a
so
second
nice
cup of
to see
hibiscus.
you.
What was the tea that you mixed with your coffee?
Say again?
What was that tea that you mixed with your coffee?
Oh, it's called chai, CHAI. Very dark,
Do you
very
have that?
spicy. Hmm.
So you got that on the website?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, we're gonna order some of that too. We'll see how that tastes. I'm always like to experiment.
Well, we're trying to wean you away from the coffee and get you into drinking a little more tea. So drinking chai tea with a little coffee in it will help you.
I'm a drinker. I drink my share of both. And see, we go to this special place that actually roast it and stuff. The coffee place that actually roast it and do everything. And we try those different times. Pretty good.
Oh, it's the best. And the smell of it, as soon as you walk into a coffee roaster, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I really drink coffee for the smell and the taste of it. I don't drink it for the caffeine or, I just like the way it smells. It smells so good to me.
See, I can drink the coffee black too. I can't.
Black?
Do that. Yeah, I can drink it black.
Mm-mm.
I can
drink it black or with sugar, either way. But see, we
No.
do several different ways. We'll do a caramel macchiato. We'll do like she got her oat milk. She got her all this type of milk and stuff.
No, I'm with her. I gotta have a little milk, a little something, half and half, cream, something in my coffee.
Yeah.
Can't drink it black. Too strong on my stomach. Too much acid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to thank everybody so much for joining. This was so much fun. I hope you learned a little thing or two about pairing your honeys with your flavored honeys with tea. Hope you learned a little bit about pasteurized, raw versus processed honey and the benefits. Think about King Tut and his raw honey and his tune. So you know that it's been around that long, tried and true and trusted. And if you have or know anybody who's really suffering from a lot of seasonal allergies, slip them some, as long as they're older than a year old, some unpasteurized or some raw honey in their tea, coffee, cake. So Ms. Hilton, make sure you still follow me on Instagram. I don't know how you found me. I think you said Instagram or Facebook, but make sure you continue to follow me, please. I appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Was that your sign, Leslie?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
She's the T.
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on everything but that darn TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok.
I don't like TikTok. So no, you ain't too old.
I don't get it. I'm not trying to. I got enough on my plate as it is. Then I got to worry about TikTok too. Like, no.
I want to do a tea tasting for the family, so I might need you to give me some recommendations on which ones that, because you shouldn't have any more than 4, 6, not any more than that.
Well, if you want to do flavored teas, and if you want to use their stuff, they have another flight. I can't remember what's in it, but this one was called the fruit flavored flight. Say that 3 times.
Okay.
They have another flight of 3, but I don't remember what it is. So you could, I say that to say, you could go 3 teas and 3 honeys, or you can go 6 because they have another 3 different flavors.
Wow.
I think 3 would be enough.
I think 3
It's a lot to go 6 at one time because your palate will get confused. It won't know if it likes it or not after a while. But 3 I thought was good. Like, I don't think if we did any more than 3, it might be too much for,
Okay.
I like your 3.
Yeah, your tongue will be mad and confused.
And I don't throw it away.
All right. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time unless anybody has any questions for me or anything like that. You can always email me or text me. My phone number's on the website if you need any suggestions, Ms. Hilton, if you want, me to help you out with what you're going to use. But everybody knows where to find me and reach me. So if you have any other questions for me.
How far you got to catering?
Say again? What'd he say? I'm not coming down to Martinsville now. Oh, no.
That's what I was asking.
The few times I've been down there, we drove from New York all the way down there.
No.
Not doing that anymore.
Oh, boy. Anything with 4 hours, I gotta get the flight.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So Mabel, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for
Hey, honey.
coming. You're the
Really
best.
fun.
I
Maybe-
recognize you anyway. You still look the same.
Hey, maybe, oh God, yeah, yeah. That's because Zoom helps. Maybe you could do another one with the other 3.
I could. We could try that. I'll start
Just let us know.
researching and tasting myself to see which ones I think would go well with the other 3.
Excellent. Oh, so good. Thank you so much,
Yes.
honey. Good to see you.
Yes,
Nice to meet
ma'am.
everybody.
All right,
Yes.
everybody, have a good day. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of the
you.
Sunday. Welcome back from vacation, Mr. and Mrs. I
Glad
hope to
to be
see
back.
everybody again soon.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you so much for joining. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.